lockdown and we wouldn't be able to go to our offices, I wouldn't believe them because it simply didn't seem possible. So the world can change and is changing in ways that we may never have predicted. And as the world around us is transforming, much like the river under the Koluteka Bridge changed course, we need to adapt our lives and our businesses to change. So, apart from the travel industry and the hospitality industries, which have been the worst hit by the pandemic, the new normal of working from home has contributed to a shift in how the workplace is viewed and what people expect from it. The current reduction in the use of traditional office spaces to do business has left many commercial office spaces empty for the past 4 to 5 months and turned many homes into makeshift offices. And these strategies may remain in place either permanently or at a minimum for the next 12 to 24 months. Companies like BBC have announced that they will be returning to the office. They won't be returning to the office until 2021. Facebook is the latest and the largest tech company to announce a full or partial move to a more permanent remote work due to the pandemic. And Twitter have announced that their employees can work from home permanently if they like. Now, personally, I like Twitter's strategy. So the retail industry is also one of the biggest losers in this pandemic, with reduced foot traffic as people continue to avoid crowded spaces and they opt to shop online instead. Many malls are empty and many retailers are out of business. Very sad. The owners of ShopRite recently announced their intention to exit Nigeria, and rumor has it that Massmart, who own Game, are likely to follow suit. So how does this affect us as facilities managers? We built a solid bridge in facilities management. We understood how to get our occupiers the best value for cleaning, security, PPE maintenance, etc., at the lowest prices and the fastest turnaround times. But then the river changed course, and our solid bridge is useless without occupiers. Cost savings will remain important, but value creation will dominate the agenda. The role of the facility manager remains important, although there will be a shift in focus from a purely operational approach to a more strategic one. Those that will survive this pandemic and the new normal that is here are those that are focused on finding creative solutions where others see problems and obstacles. So I believe that there are 3 critical factors to value creation in the future of facility management. So the first is space optimization. As we move towards an increasingly virtual working environment, facilities management companies need to invest time in developing skills and expertise in workplace designs that can suit these new ways of working. For example, instead of worrying about the fact that the office building you manage is closed or at reduced capacity, instead adjust your value proposition to offering space optimization solutions to your corporate clients. If you can show them how best to manage their office space to provide a socially distanced work environment, you can save them money, and more importantly, for you, you can get them back into the office sooner rather than later. The next critical factor in value creation is digital transformation. Facilities managers will need to leverage more on technology in their service offerings to stay competitive and stay in business. Technology is important, and facility management companies and professionals must use technology to make these workplaces and these homes efficient and effective by assessing all available technologies, applying those that suit to support their occupiers. NLX is an energy company that, through technological innovation, developed Homix, which offers energy transformation at home. They offer customers a smart and sustainable home that they can monitor from anywhere with their phones. I mean, this is excellent. I can be in a restaurant and I can check to make sure that my lights are off, my heating is on, and my ACs are on. It's fantastic. Many facility management technologies are already available, such as building information systems, building information modeling, building automation systems, access and security management systems, etc. And they should be used and leveraged optimally. And then lastly, I'd like to talk about renewable energy and sustainability. So the majority of facilities managers are actually responsible for energy management. And given the fact that buildings account for almost 40% of global energy use, Sustainability has become a highly prioritized strategic topic at board level of many corporates and within many large residential estates. Going forward, the pressure on facility managers will increase to deliver sustainable power solutions. EKEDC may be cheaper, but it is only reliable about 25 to 45% of the time in Lagos and much lower in other regional areas. So all homes and businesses require a secondary source of power, usually diesel or gas generators. We hear so much about renewable energy and the low cost of solar, and the numbers show that solar can operate at a tariff close to EKEDC. Solar operates primarily during the day, and now that many employees are either working from home or furloughed at home, they can all take advantage of this lower cost of power supply. Maintaining a sustainable workplace or a sustainable estate and developing new methods to reduce energy levels will therefore be one of the key ways to gain new market shares and improve the competitiveness of a facilities management business overall. So in closing, the future of facilities management post-COVID remains on course for facilities management companies with workplace design expertise in combination with technology utilization and renewable energy solutions. These companies will be well positioned to experience higher demands. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deborah, for that insightful keynote speech. I mean, I jotted quite a few things. And we're so excited and looking forward to the Q&A session where you would answer questions from the participants. You spoke quite extensively about digital transformation, and you also spoke about renewable energy and sustainability. And like I said, we're excited and looking forward to the panel session and the Q&A session.
Thank you, Kemi.
Now, moving on to our next keynote speech. Our next keynote speaker is Wale Olufore. Now, Wale Olufore has more than 23 years cognate experience handling various contracts, procurement management, administrative and dynamic leadership roles in oil and gas companies like Shell Nigeria and Centrica Resources, where he was country manager before joining Alpha Med Facilities as GM Commercial in 2011. He was ED Commercial from 2016 to 2018 before he became MD Alpha Med Facilities in 2019. Wale holds an MBA from Nottingham Trent University in the UK and is a member of African Centre for Supply Chain, Chartered Institute of Purchasing and Supply London, and the American Management Association. Thank you so much for joining us today. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Kemi. Thank you. That was a good one, Deborah. You know, I think we are aligned in a number of places, but let me just go right down to my speech. I would like to share my screen. Sorry, let me see. I'm trying to, yeah. So. Yeah. Sorry. So to BuiltConverse, thank you very much for the kind and generous invitation to speak at this forum of upcoming gurus poised to change the business landscape with technological savvy narratives. It is indeed humbling for me to deliver this speech. The thrust of this address is apt and germane to the sign of the times. The sign of the times being as the world slowly emerges from the impact of COVID-19, countries across the world are at different points of the pandemic curve and have chosen different response methodologies to deal with the new or next normal. Unarguably, the spotlight is on the FM industry, the FM practitioners across the world, whether it is residential or it is corporate, whether it is commercial real estate. You know, according to various, before I delve into talking about the future of what FM holds, and estate security, let's quickly understand what FM is all about. The reason I'm doing this is because we are dealing with a lot of upstarts who are, potential entrepreneurs who are just starting to hone their experience in real estate or whatever business they intend to do. So I will go with a robust definition of the facility management itself as a combination of multiple professionals working together to ensure functionality, comfort, safety, efficiency of the built environment by integrating people, place, process, and technology. This invariably suggests that the FM is an integral part of where we work, where we live, and where we play. I would like listeners to therefore take cognizance of the relevant words: functionality, comfort, safety, efficiency, and technology as we go further into this discussion. The evolution of FM itself needs to be understood. Over 40 years ago, the profession as became an outsourced profession, in the sense that some services were just bundled, outsourced to service providers just to make convenience for corporate organizations and real estate. That was in the 80s. 10 years down the line, in the 1990s, the scope went beyond the traditional hard and soft services, and additional services were integrated. What were those services? We talk about waste management, contract management, and IT services. By the time you move into the 2000s, with the explosion in the IT service space, the FM business witnessed automation of facilities activities via computerized management system and what do you call it? CMMS, computerized maintenance management system. Interestingly, just 10 years ago and up till now, we have seen what value FM is all about, which is about aligning the objectives of FM service practitioner with the objectives of the end user of the service, meaning businesses that are engaging FM service suppliers must align strategically to the business vision and then work in line to be able to work together and provide fully focused services. This became the sustainability era. And this led us to the 2020s, where we are now looking at performance, workplace experience. What are we doing differently from the traditional cut and paste of the 80s and 90s? How are we going to align with the bottom line of every business? How are we going to transform from being a cost center in the 80s and 90s to being a performance center? And what does the future hold from where we are at? The pandemic, just like Deborah said, has actually changed the cost of everything that we do. But then, even when we see the pandemic as a challenge, it has actually created veritable opportunity within the space where we operate. So it is important to take cognizance of the levers that will increase business profitability, business productivity, and ultimately improve the financial bottom line of the end users. That is what FM is aligned to do. So the future of FM itself is hinged on major transformation driven by technology, innovation, new business models, emerging value propositions, competitive disruption, and creative new service offerings. Research and markets tells us that across the diverse spectrum, FM services are being commoditized. So what it means is you need to innovate on a continuous basis. So pandemic or no pandemic, you must put your thinking cap on and begin to see how well can you do? How else do you have to perform what you used to do traditionally? Technology enhancement in every area of the business has actually spoken to the need for continuity and business change that will attend to what we do and how we do it. Now, corporate organizations, according to Frost and Sullivan's, they are a research company, and they help a lot of startup companies or companies who are tired of status quo and wants to improve on their growth trajectory. They came up with 8 important transformational trends that will shape the future of FM. What are those 8 transformational trends? Business productivity is one. User experience and human touch is another. Sustainability, which Deborah mentioned, is there too. And then artificial intelligence and the use of robots. Selling outcomes. What becomes of all of the performance of FM within the real estate space or within the corporate organization that the FM supplier is providing service? Then what about partner? They talked about partnering and collaboration, because there's no one shoe that fits all. You need to depend on some specialists at some point. So when you partner and collaborate, the future is guaranteed. Then you are able to participate in a lot of other things, Then Internet of Things and cloud services. All of this, you will agree, relates back to what has been trending over the last couple of years within the build space, and they will shape the future of FM. With the pandemic and its effects on where we work, where we live, and where we play, the paraphernalia of services itself that we enjoy, from within the real estate spaces, from FM practitioners, the spotlight remains focused on what can the FM service provider do to align with the future expectations of businesses. Now, we're talking about newer measures that has to be embraced because of the safety and security of all stakeholders. But also, don't forget business continuity. Business solutions are now being crafted with cleanliness and hygiene now playing very important and significant role in the FM space. Facility management companies have the responsibility to deploy effectively clean spaces with regular disinfectants at periodic intervals, as FMCs have to enforce protocols of taking body temperature, health and safety, compliance, daily ingress protocols of, enhanced access control and records of contacts, and all add up to the new FM operational strategy. Sign of the times, COVID-19 really, on one hand, have presented a challenge, like I said, but it has created opportunity. The CEO of Institute of Workplace and Facility Management, succinctly put the relevance of FM practitioners in when she said, key workers who haven't yet been recognized, those who keep buildings clean and safe and operational for users, crucial practitioners who enable health professionals and others beyond that designation to optimize their effectiveness. And workplace, these are the workplace and facility management professionals. Need I say more? So what are those things that will really, really define the FM and estate security in post-COVID-19 work and residential lives? McKinsey Group, they talked about 5 forces that will shape the future of FM, the future of post-COVID-19, which invariably relates to everything about the future of FM. This, number 1, is the metamorphosis of demand. The metamorphosis of demand is talking about the business-to-business channels. How is it changing? The introduction of technology and online platforms to purchase, which will minimize physical contact. They talked about the altered workforce. The altered workforce. I mean, a lot of people now sit at home. There's a company in America, a manufacturing company, that says since the pandemic, they realized that they have used only 40% of their workforce to achieve 90% of their production. So there is a need to reskill. So that explains the altered workforce. And when you look at the analogy at the beginning of Deborah's presentation, you will agree with me that there is every need to understand that change is constant, but what matters most is the flexibility of how we are able to adapt to the demands of the time. The third is changes in resiliency. Resiliency, it's the supply chain that even provides support for the FM industry. We now need to be talking about how to tweak those in a way that there is more resilient inbuilt. You have to change contracts. Contracts of 3 months now have to go to 1 year. Contracts of supplies of tools, consumables, and materials, you have to upscale it because of this pandemic, so that it minimizes interaction and it minimizes physical contact. Yeah. Now, regulatory uncertainties. That is another thing that the world over, the G20 is affected. So the pandemic is not limited to Africa or to Europe or America. It affects the entire world. So if it affects the G20, then it affects the entire world. So what are we going to deal with in terms of regulatory compliances? What would come up? We're already looking at what is going to happen, what is happening in the transportation industry with travels and the kind of protocol you have to observe before you travel and all that and all that. All of these will play major role in what shapes the future of FM. Now, the evolution of the virus itself, we can discuss this even during the session. I mean, there are other points that I've listed in my speech, but I don't want to bedevil the promoters. These are touch points that relates to the future of FM, and we can discuss them during the session. But before I finish, I would like to say that in order for us to have a better grasp of what the future holds, we must understand the shift within even the FM. It is no longer a cost center. It is now a performance center. And with evolution and changes and improvements in technology and value add, yeah, it is bound to become a profit-making center for organizations, for real estate into the future. So I will stop there and would wait for the panel session where we can do a deep dive into some of the points that are raised in the course of this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it's an interesting time ahead. Thank you very much for sharing the definition, the history of facility management. And just as you said, the pandemic has opened up new opportunities as opposed to thinking otherwise. Now we turn to the panel. All Q&A will happen during the panel session. And before the panel session comes up, our partner and one of the startups in our network will demo their products. I think that we have showing right away. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Ibrahim. I am one of the co-founders of the Compass app. The Compass app is a cloud-based solution that simplifies facility management. This app makes access control very convenient, safe, and contactless. This awesome all-in-one solution is designed for community managers who want to automate and modernize their resident experience. These exciting features is what I'll be showing you today. The Compass app is easy for residents and facility managers. From resident onboarding to visitors management, no pen or paper is required to check in a guest. With our contactless solution, Compass is safe for all residents and their guests. Conveniently book your guests easily, anytime and anywhere, no call is required. With our app, you also have the ability for your guests to click on map directions from their phone to get to your location or your home safely. allows its users to access emergency response whenever in distress, whether it's a fire situation, a security breach, medical, or maybe an appliance malfunction. You can also screen and register your estate vendors like electricians, plumbers, laundry guys with the Compass app. You can enjoy better cost with this feature, competency, and enhanced security. The Compass app simplifies community-wide notices and announcements. You can seamlessly send information out to all residents in your community with our secured and private in-app messaging system. Why drive the same direction in 4 different cars when you can safely ride with your neighbors with our secured in-community carpooling feature? Get to know your neighbors and have fun on the trip to the airport, school, and work. This feature is safe and good for social life, well-being, and cost, and ultimately the environment. Our payments and accounting module allow residents association and community managers to collect 100% of estate dues in a convenient and hassle-free manner using our in-app payment processing system. This module also offers reports and data analytics to help you understand residents' behavioral pattern and to optimize your processes. There is still so much more that the Compass app can do. Simply contact us for a demo and learn how the Compass app can make a difference in your security and your community management.
As we said earlier, if you would love to be a part of future editions of BuiltConverse, please send us a mail, StartupSouth@gmail.com. Now moving on to our panel discussion, our panel session. Aside our 2 keynote speakers, and we have 2 more panelists who will be joining the panel discussion hosts. We have Kehinde Ogundimu. Kehinde is the CEO and Managing Director, Nigeria Mortgage Refinance Company, NMRC, which intermediates between the debt capital market and the financial market. NMRC provides long-term funding to mortgage lending institutions, commercial and mortgage banks. He is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, FCA, and member American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Before joining NMRC, he was head of debt derivatives and securitization at Capital One Bank and has a career history spanning several continents and various capacities at companies including PricewaterhouseCoopers, Texaco Overseas, now Chevron Nigeria Limited, Eco Energy Services, Freddie Mac, and Fannie Mae. Thank you so much, Kehinde Ogundimu, for joining us today.
Thank you.
So our next panelist and our final panelist, Nnamdi Ehirim, is the co-founder and business development lead at Compass, a property technology startup providing all-in-one cloud-based solution for community and facility managers interested in automation and modernization of their processes. He's an early stage investment professional with experience in business fundraising and early stage business development. Thank you so much for joining us, Nnamdi.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yes, and to ask questions, to moderate this particular panel discussion, we have Uche Aniche. And Uche is the founder of Havila and Hills and the convener of this event, the organizers of this event, StartupSouth. His passion for the development of Nigeria led to the establishment of StartupSouth, through which young people are equipped, educated, and supported to build high-scale businesses. He's also a director of SSE Angel Network, an organization dedicated to mentoring and investing in early-stage entrepreneurs, starting from the South and Southeast. Through his efforts, startups in the region have gone on to raise over 300 million naira in investments, including grants. You would agree with me, ladies and gentlemen, that our panelists for today's session are equipped and able to share experiences, opportunities, and all that we need to know during these times. Uche, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kemi. Can you all hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can. We can't see you.
You can't see me, right?
No.
Okay. I'm not sure I understand what's happening. Oh, okay. I do know. You can see me now, I guess.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we
Awesome.
can.
Okay, thank you. I just want to start off by, apologizing to everyone who had tried to join from the other link. I think we had some sort of network issues coupled with system. I can't explain fully what was going on, but finally we're here, and I think that's what's important. So I've shared the link to the current live video, and a lot of people have joined, but you could still want to send it to your contact to say the stuff is going on here. And I've been listening to all the speeches. Thank you so much. I'm going to give Mr. Kehinde Ogundimo and Mr. Nnamdi Ehirim, I'm going to give them the opportunity to make some opening statements before we start taking the questions. If you're listening to me on YouTube, just ask the questions, and you have questions to ask the panelists, just ask it in the chat, and I can assure you that we will reach out and get those questions, and we will treat them here, okay? So, Nnamdi, if you're ready, I'd just like you to, for the next 3 to 5 minutes, you want to share your thoughts on what you heard. You heard Deborah, you heard Wale. So I'd like for you to, share your thoughts on what you think, and I as a co-founder of Compass, I also know that some of the things you've spoken about happens to be some of the things that Compass is already solving or innovating around. So I'd like to hear you hear your thoughts on their speeches, and then whatever thoughts you have for the next 3 to 5 minutes. Over to you, Nnamdi.
Okay, thank you very much, Uche. Just to confirm, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Uche, for having us on your platform, and thank you, Deborah and Wale, as well, for your keynote speeches. I think from an industry point of view, you gave very solid overviews of what's going on in the sector, but I'd just like to narrow things down a bit and speak on the human aspect of it, right? So in Nigeria, I can consider the two effects of the pandemic that have been established already. Firstly, people are generally worrying about contracting the virus. And secondly, people are gradually worried about the gradual and consistent decline in their income. So we can say that both of these effects crystallize into one clear reality, and that is people are getting more concerned with survival. And as most organizations have implemented work from home policies as a result of COVID, the issue of survival has become primarily a very, very domestic issue. And as both the keynote speakers both mentioned, the residents are spending more time within their communities, and by communities, I mean the estates, apartment buildings they live in, and they're interacting more frequently with their members. And more than ever, there's an increased scrutiny on the health and security of this community that we live in. So most importantly, it's the responsibility of our estate administrators, our facility managers to take action towards implementing the right prevention and containment strategies by managing the movement of people in and out of our communities and by keeping everyone adequately informed. And when faced with similar challenges in the past, we've used technologies to innovate and create solutions that have helped us deploy 4 key resources: man, money, material, and information. And again, as both of the keynote speakers alluded to, information, I feel, is the game changer forward. This last resource, when transformed to meaningful data, has the potential to create enormous social impact. And as Mr. Olufore highlighted as well, it also has the potential to create enormous economic impact as well. Combined with the invention of the internet and rapid advances in communication technology, over the last 2 decades, we've seen in other sectors what information has done with social media, with artificial intelligence applications, and all these other buzzwords. And data has brought us to the cusp of this era of Internet of Things. And we feel if IoT fulfills its promise, this could be a true game changer that will propel human to human and human to computer interaction within our smart ecosystems. And this is what we are trying to achieve at Compass. We have created these new tools to mitigate the risk in our communities now in the era of the pandemic and moving forward into the future. And as the situation with COVID continues to develop, we believe that now is the best time for estate administrators and facility managers to consider updating their access control protocols to a more modern and future-proof system that could increase the speed and efficiency with which we communicate and interact within our communities. And our Compass, we have taken these considerations and built our features around them, right? We believe these considerations are non-negotiable when appraising post-COVID access control protocols. And for starters, we believe this new protocol should proactively ask residents to, identify people who are authorized into their premises with minimal human contact. And when necessary, security staff should also verify provided information from their guests with visitor logs, and all persons entering the building should be documented and stored in easily accessible database. And speaking of an easily accessible database, we believe that it's non-negotiable that transitioning to a cloud or mobile-based security system would make our communities simpler and safer without the need to depend on localized servers or on-site personnel and all of that. So when it comes to updating for coronavirus building security, a system such as Compass, which we have been building, that can be managed remotely, offers great control and flexibility. And for corporate facilities, because our communities are residential, but they are also corporate. So whether head offices or manufacturing plants are working as the government mandated at 75% capacity, we are looking to provide, mobile guest passes that instantly issue secure mobile credentials to anyone who needs it with the click of the button. And need to track down lost or stolen key cards. You can skip the hassle of reissuing key cards that were lost or not delivered to the right person. And employees can simply use their phones to access facilities, offering a more sanitary experience for the entire office. And guests can access facilities at set times with a simple code and a map location shared via text or email or anything like that. So finally, as a rule, just to round up my thoughts, I believe that how well communities respond to emergencies will be directly related to how well we can communicate with our fellow residents, our community members, and other guests. And as the world begins to normalize again, we're able to reopen our doors to the public and to our employees and to our guests. We believe that communities need to be prepared for a shift in what will be expected as acceptable when it comes to safety and security. And considerations on survival, both social survival and economic survival, will take a much higher priority. So the question again is, how best can we prepare? And this is where we Compass.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nnamdi. What can I say? I like to just, without wasting time, I like to take it to Kende Ogundimo. Mr. Ogundimo, you're the MD for NMRC, and part of what you do is, refinance mortgage, be as a bridge for, lending, the lending stakeholders and, people who need real estate. One of the things that we are seeing, one of the things that the speakers have noted is the fact that since a lot of work is moving to the home, I'd like to hear your thought. Do you think that you're going to see an increase, an uptake in people trying to, buy home, get mortgage, and all of that stuff? I also like to hear your thought about what you think about the impact of COVID-19 on the entire real estate space. Please, for the next 3 to 5 minutes, sir.
So let me say thank you very much for the opportunity to be here, and then to thank the presenters. I think Deborah and Wally have done a fantastic job with their presentations. I'm looking at this from the finance side, and there is a direct relationship between FM, which is facilities management, and finance. Where in finance, when we're looking at a customer or looking at a property, you're looking at the cash flow from that property or from that customer. And then you're looking at the duration, so is this person going to have that income stream and for how long? Statistics show that any property that is well maintained by proper facilities manager will last longer and it's more efficient. So we will be more open to looking at well-maintained or well facilities managed properties for financing. So there's a direct link, as I said, between what it does. Not only that, the cash flow and then the lifestyle, it also enhances the ambience. It reduces the effect or impact of the environment. When disasters come, they don't get as impacted as facilities that are not well maintained. So in terms of value, any asset that is well managed by a facilities manager, the value just goes through the roof, or it enhances the value astronomically. So we feel that it's not being done now, but those are things that going forward, or maybe with what is happening now, that should also affect the pricing of the facility of the loans that we give out. You understand? I don't know if you get the concept. If you know, I'll give you an example. For instance, if you have a house in the US and then you have these security apparatus that maybe that monitors people around you or monitors the temperature inside, when you go to insure that property, your insurance is reduced because of those mitigating or protective things that you have at home. I feel that facilities management should also be factored into the pricing of the pricing of the loans. You know, so if we know that maybe Alpha Mead is the organization that is managing this property, we expect that because of the standards they have in place, the likelihood of fire occurring in that property or things going south is very low, and so there should be some credit to that. So coming back to your question as to the impact of COVID-19, you know, it's been the impact on the system. There was a massive destruction of the supply chain because of people staying at home, you know, which has completely shut down business around the world and in Nigeria, to be specific, to be in particular as well. So I don't know if you've been following, the UK released their GDP last 2 days ago. It was 20%. It is the greatest contraction in history in the United Kingdom. Same for the US, same around the world. So people are losing jobs, you know, and when people lose jobs, housing is not the first priority, you know, because it's survival first and things like that. But the good thing for us is that we are beginning to see lowering of interest rates in Nigeria. So rates are coming down, which is one of those factors that affect affordability. So we expect that by the time things stabilize and we're able to keep rates the way they are now, there will be some improvement in terms of the housing uptake. But we expect that in the next 1 or 2 quarters, we don't expect a significant jump in the number of people. People are staying at home, you know, they'll be staying in their homes, but because of the fear of incurring expenditure, I know housing is one of the biggest things that we'll ever buy in our lifetime. People might be reluctant to go into that until they see some light at the end of the tunnel, which I believe in the next 1 or 2 months, 1 or 2 quarters, we'll begin to see that. So COVID has changed a few things, but I think we'll get over these. And then, but that being said, we're also putting all the structures in place to facilitate housing so that when it starts, you know, we just have that engine cracking. So we're working on the Nigeria Mortgage Guarantee Scheme, which is a scheme that will help those who cannot meet their equity requirement to come into the housing market. We're working on the Electronic Mortgage Asset Register, which is a facility or a system that will help, you know, in transferring assets between people. We're working on the adoption of the model mortgage and foreclosure law by a lot of people, just to ensure that people are beginning to, that the foundations are in place for housing to kick off. So I'll just stop here for now, but there's a direct correlation between what my colleagues are doing in facilities management and the value it enhances in housing, and then hopefully we'll begin to see the benefits in the not too distant future. Let me stop here for now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Thank you so much, Mr. Ogundimo. Just very quickly, I want to go to you, Deborah. In your speech, you mentioned 3 critical factors, you know, to value creation, and you said space optimization, digital transformation, renewable energy. I want to focus on digital transformation. You know, space optimization. What are the direct, you know, possible, what are the direct possibilities for innovation? Like we mentioned, we're looking to be able to find what are the places youth can fit in this, or where places that offer good opportunity for innovation in the space. You know, can you share your thoughts on what you think are those places?
Thanks, Uche. I mean, I'd like to start by saying I am by no means an IT or technology expert, but I truly believe that the purpose of technology is to enhance the way that we do things. So in terms of opportunities, it's all about, as a facility manager or as somebody who has the ability to create technological innovations, I believe what you need to do is to ask the what if. So I use the example of NLX, who was an energy company, and they just asked the what if. What if we moved our solution into homes? What if we allowed our users to be able to control the energy in their homes at the touch of a button from anywhere in the world? So what if, as a facility manager of an office space that's currently empty, what if there was a solution where the office manager or HR manager can be at home, but assess who is in the office, who's entering the office and who's going out of the office, how many people are in the office, are we meeting the social distancing criteria of 50% occupancy? So that's one what if. What if there was a solution, and these solutions are actually already out there, it's just about implementation. So, there's solutions now where you can have an office space that's controlled by movement. So the lights are off and the air conditioners are off until there's movement. So that's basically asking the what if. What if I could help a company control its energy bill by ensuring that they're only paying for what they use? So the lights are only on when they're in the office. The AC only comes on when there's somebody in a meeting room. What if we could book? I mean, there are just so many what ifs, and I think that is what technological advancement is about, and that's what a company like Compass that Nnamdi is operating, that's what they're built to do. So as facilities managers, one of our key roles is to enhance the user experience, as Wally mentioned, whether the user is a corporate occupier or a residential occupier. You just keep needing to ask the what ifs. What if I could do this for my occupier? What if I could make life easier for my occupier? Now, what technology can I create to enable this?
Awesome. Thank you.
Uche, if you don't mind, I would just like to add a little bit to what Deborah
go on.
said, right?
Go ahead.
Yes, and so I mean, the first thing Deborah said was she's not a technology expert, and if I was to introduce myself on this panel, even though the title says facility management, I definitely not call myself a facility management expert, considering people like Mr. Olufore and Mr. Ogudimo who are bringing 20 to 30 years of experience to this panel, right? But what I'd say is this is pretty much why we're here, because the need for collaboration, because the facility managers may not have the technical capabilities to build the type of technology we do at Compass, but at Compass as well, we don't know the pain points of the facility management sector. We can say this is what the consumers need. We can say this is what the service providers need. So more than anything, while we're looking at smart ecosystems, we should also try to narrow down the collaboration and see how can we all collaborate and bring our technical capabilities to the fore and collaborate and build things together.
That was spot on, because I was going to get to that, because for this to achieve this goal, we must definitely have that conversation. How does an organization like Alpha Meet, for instance, collaborate with an organization like Compass, or whatever? I have to say that one of the startups that in our network as well, which happens to be House Africa, already collaborates with NMRC, right? So that's the sort of thing I want to be able to see happen more. And that's the kind of questions I was going to ask. But let me phrase it this way to you, Mr. Olufore. Deborah said, one of the things she mentioned is IoT, or Internet of Things, right? Saying that so she says it's an opportunity for Internet of Things. Do you agree that we are ready for Internet of Things in Nigeria or in Africa, as it were? Do you think we have that we're ready for that?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Uche. Yes, I will say yes, but the yes has a bit of a slow nature to it because we may not be there yet where the developed world is. But if you look at the trajectory, I mean, children born 20 years ago are all technological savvy. They are people who are used to the smartphone. I use my own phone for just normal calls, whilst these people, they know that the phone can be turned to a mini laptop on the go. You know, I use, they do all the media, what have you, and they live smart. Now, the future of FM itself, I can tell you, is a technology-enabled space. It is technology, the Internet of Things, the big data, and advanced connectivity that will drive the efficiency of FM service. And an investment in that region right now for FM practitioners is a huge differentiating factor. Yes, I tell you what, at Alpha Meet, it's exactly like that because we invest in technology end to end so that the data and the analytics that comes there from, we are able to take informed decisions that enables us to even advise our end users. If I want to improve the experience of the end user of my service, it is important that I have enough data, simulate them to civil sensitivity analysis to determine their pain points so that I can improve on it. Then I will be showing them data that supports what they want to go into the strategy room to discuss. I mean, the pandemic has thrown the entire space into a hue and cry, but then with a seasoned facility manager at your beck and call who knows how to piece information together and evolve newer ways of doing things smarter, cheaper, then you are at home, with that kind of facility manager. So basically, Internet of Things is the way to go. Big data that you gather from those things enable you to determine what is actually happening to the customer. You can see the dullness when we send out questionnaires, customer service questionnaires. It is to test how well the services we are providing, how well we are serving them. And then we come back to the drawing board to pick the data that suggests that some things are wrong there, and then we are able to tweak it. We can only do that with technology and not by word of mouth, because word of mouth, it's going to take forever. But when you install, technology into the space where you work, and automatically the data drops. And then by the time you are receiving them at the end of the week, on the end of the month, or quarterly, you're able to quickly take informed decisions and confront the end user that, look, this is where this is going. These are the alternatives to doing it well so that we don't have escalations and all that, Like I said, with data, you can confront the end user to change their ways, to change from being rigid to being flexible, because they are going to enjoy the service at the end of the day. So yes, I agree that in Nigeria, the Internet of Things is very key, and the new generation, the generation you call Generation Z, they are going to change the entire space. And all of us who are their parents will have to follow suit. So young entrepreneurs who are already in that space, who are technology savvy, they will be able to perform well and innovate on a continuous basis, because the only thing that is constant is that change. And technology has brought that change to bear on the way we do what we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Before, I just want to say that if you're joining us on YouTube, it's important that it's open. You can ask questions, type in your questions in the chat, and I will pick it. I've been checking. So if you type in your questions, I will pick it and I'll read it out here. But I'm going to get back to Kehinde and Nnamdi. Mr. Olufore has just said, made a point about data. And Nnamdi, my question to you will be about how well your current product optimizes data collection. And if for instance, you have, what's it called? Nigeria don't have GDPR, but we have a NITDA data protection law. So how well all of that fits in. So I'd like to know those questions. But to Mr. Kehinde, I just want to ask, there is like you have seen, and like Deborah had mentioned, a lot of the organizations that have implemented the work from home policy, a lot of them are not going to revert back to using their offices. And this for me is that, I don't know if you share this view, but it means that there's going to be an elevated risk, especially for people living in the gated communities and estates. Do you see this risk? Because, I mean, considering our nature as Africans, we are social, very social. Do you see this risk that there's going to be issues with security, there's going to be issues with safety? Do you agree with that? And if you do, what are your thoughts around possible ways to mitigate those? Or what can the facility managers do to mitigate those? So maybe you can come first, and then Nnamdi will come on the point on data. And then I think Deborah, I need you to also chime in here.
Okay, thank you. I think I'll talk about data too, because we are a data-centric organization. So we have what we call the mortgage market system, which is a platform that cuts through the entire value chain of the industry, right from housing construction through mortgage creation, through refinance, and every other thing, because we believe that we should know when houses are being built, where they are being built, the type of houses being built, and a lot of things around that. We also want information about off-takers, can they afford the kind of houses being built? What are the kind of houses that they actually need? Because the houses that you and I need are probably different from the houses that the younger ones need. They are not interested in bigger houses like you and I would want. They want something that is functional, efficient, and all that. So we are very, very big in terms of data, and we collect data across the entire housing value chain. To your question about the risk that this pandemic might pose because people are now working from home and things like that. Yes, there are so many risks, sometimes I think it was yesterday or the day before, sometimes when people are, the fact that people now stay together, husband and wife and children and all that, that's a risk in itself, in the sense that people can become intolerant to one another and things like that. So how long can people want to stay together, and be living in a harmonious life without having mental breakdowns and things like that? But in terms of security and all that, I don't think there should be any risk to the neighborhood. I just think that if anything, this should drive demand for more functional houses, for more efficiently built houses, that also provide security in terms of maybe now people will be talking about closed circuit monitoring and things like that, real-time online that you can see from your phone and all that, So I think it will enhance technology and then even make residential houses more in demand. We foresee that rental space, will go down, whether we like it or not. I don't think that 100% of us will return back to work, so some people will never go back to work, but they'll be working from home, or even if they're going back to work, there'll be a reduction in the level. So in terms of office space and office properties, we don't expect to see significant growth in that area. But in terms of residential, the more people stay at home, the more, and then they begin to set up families and things like that, we expect that there will be increased demand. So it's just like we're shifting from one side of the pendulum to the other. There will still be human beings, and they will still want to interact and be in our own spaces. So that's what we see. The security and things like that, that's why we have the technology people here, the IT guys. We'll continue to innovate on how we can make that more efficient. I'm here in Nigeria. I can tell you what is happening to my house in the US from here, just from my phone. Somebody moves and things like that, you know. We expect to have that there, but we need the infrastructure, for instance, for the network to be stable and, you know, so that people have the bandwidth and the data and all that. These are challenges that we can fix here. But those are the next things that I'm sure our people will be able to do as well, you know, and then we'll have that. So we'll continue to have robust demand on the residential side. I think is the office space that might be impacted, and then the security situation and things like that. The IT guys, and it's a good business for them to latch onto and then feed on it.
Awesome, thank you, Kehinde. Deborah, do you want to comment on this before I hand over to Nnamdi?
Yes, I would. So I'd like to, obviously, I think one of the things that we're looking to talk about today is estate security. And I think typically with estate security, there are 3 things that we look at as facilities management. So you're looking to prevent intruders from coming in. You're also looking to prevent things from moving out of the estate. And the third thing that's often overlooked is disease. And where we are today is the biggest intruder that we have in our homes is the risk of this disease coming into our home. You know, I like to tell stories. I'm not sure if anyone is aware of the situation with Queen's College a few years ago, where a few of the students fell ill. Unfortunately, some of them died and they didn't know what the cause was. So they ended up locking down the school. They sent everyone home to try and investigate to find out what the cause of this awful illness was. And after a few days of investigations, it turns out that the water that they were using to cook, to have their bath, to drink, to do everything was contaminated. And that was the cause of the disease that unfortunately killed a few of the students. Now, this disease is something that is overlooked because people tend not to check this when they're looking at estate security. And it's the silent intruder. So I think what's very important, especially now that people are at home, yes, we need to protect ourselves from the intruders coming in and out, but we also need to do a risk and vulnerability assessment to check everything that could potentially impact people at home. And this is everything from water treatment to, to the security that we were talking about. We must check everything, and that's what's important, especially now that we're at home. I also think in terms of security, we've turned security men into pseudo nurses because they're performing temperature checks, they're doing all these things that is really typically not in their job description. They're ensuring people wash their hands before they enter the estate. So the role of security has changed and enhanced slightly. What's essential is just to make sure that the people who are performing these temperature checks and et cetera, are actually qualified to do it. But that's, I think, is a story for another day. So that's my comment on estate security.
Awesome, Nnamdi.
Okay, yeah. So I think both Deborah and Kehinde made a really solid point.
So Nnamdi, before you go on, I want to add this to your to what I asked earlier. A couple of people has asked a question relating to IoT. Somebody is asking if it is practicable in Nigeria concerning considering our our level of infrastructure. Some other person is talking about cost of internet services and facilities. I mean, bottom line is IoT practicable in Nigeria? You're the tech person here, from all I can see. So add that to your question on data.
Okay. Thank you very much. Firstly, I'd speak to what we mentioned about data. And when we speak about data, let's not forget that it's more simplistic than people tend to make it seem. As Mr. Kehinde mentioned initially, that even at the NRMC, they collect some sort of data. Everybody collects data. Our banks collect that data. Our network service providers collect that data on a very, very fundamental level. Even our churches and our mosque collect some data on us, right? Everyone collects data. I think what's more important and what's more crucial is what's done with the data. So what we do is, firstly, we try to collect data ourselves, but we also work with partners to see, to gather the customer data they've aggregated to figure out pain points. And we try to build solutions around this. So the important thing is what's done with the data. For example, at Compass, yes, facility managers do a lot of maintenance work and all of that. What we try to do is study consumer behavior. With our app, you can, for example, book your repair works. You can reach out to your pre-registered artisans, your electricians, your plumbers who have been vetted by facility managers. You can reach out to security providers, healthcare providers. All of this is collecting consumer behavior. Over time, we can say these are the patterns we've observed. How can we enhance our product to make it better for our users? How can we enhance our product to make facility managers' job easier, to make their job more economical? So that's the primary thing, what we can do with data, and which is primarily monitoring consumer behavior, and secondly, building and enhancing our products to make them more useful to the consumers and more economical for facility managers who deploy them. And secondly, another major consideration about data, which hasn't been mentioned, but I would like to highlight, is security. Because it's one thing to hand over all of your personal information to a third party, but you also have to make sure this information is secure, because this is your home address. This is the people you're letting into your homes. This is for our carpooling feature. This is the place you go regularly or frequently. And if you're collecting estate dues on your app, or any sorts of fees you want to collect, which you can do on our app, this is also your financial information. So we also try to raise the bar and make sure the data passes through a system goes through the most encrypted security procedures. We must store it at any database is stored in the cloud, so it can't be physically hacked and things like that. So these are the considerations that we are looking at regarding data. And as I said, this is a technological field. There's still a lot of collaboration being done. Like, there is no such thing as a final technological product. There's always new versions. We are constantly looking out to partner with people to see how we can get information, how we can evolve our product even further. And speaking to the second question regarding IoT, I mean, yes, there are levels to this. I mean, we definitely don't have the infrastructure that's available in the first world country. Like Mr. Olufere mentioned, how he can observe what's going on in his other home from here. I mean, we don't have the infrastructure to do things as heavy as that, but on the level we have, on the rail tracks we have, we can deploy the types of trains that can run on the rail tracks we have so far. So it's not so data heavy to use the app. It's the basic information, and you'd be doing on the consumer end. It's probably less teeth than running Facebook on your phone, on your mobile device, right, on your laptop. So these are, runs fine, YouTube runs fine, Netflix runs fine. So it's pretty much just being able to connect all your devices together, and like within a community, being able to access the internet. It operates on a very, very fundamental level. And hopefully, as the infrastructure is built out, as the rail tracks is built out, we can also evolve the type of trains we deploy on our rail tracks.
Awesome, thank you. I'd like to, as we round up the session, I like to get back to all the panelists to say their last words, but I would like to just read out some of the comments on from our viewers, participants, right? Stephen Aremu says IoT is very practicable in Nigeria, and Naomi says lots of security concerns with artisans these days, and I agree very much. You know, when we go to the office, more than about eight hours in the day, sometimes up to 10 hours in the day, we're out of the house and we're not using the facilities and features in the house. Now, but being in the house now means that apart from being with my wife regularly, what Mr. Kende had mentioned, means that I'm going to use features in the house regularly. And with more usage comes wear and tears, and which means that you're going to be fixing things a lot more regularly, which means also that artisans are required to come to your house more regularly. So I think that's where it begins to make sense that a system that is able to vet artisans, and make it easy for you to get them in is very, very important at this time. So I like to take it from the way we started. So just your final thought. So Deborah, yes, before you leave us, Deborah, can you give us your final thoughts?
Okay, I guess, yeah, final thoughts. I believe that one of the key things that this COVID-19 pandemic has brought out is the need for digital transformation. I think it doesn't just apply to facility management, it applies to all walks of life. I think digital transformation is the way forward, and we all need to ask the what ifs and what can we do to improve on what we have now, and how can we use technology to improve, make things easier, make things faster, and make things cheaper. So I think my advice to everyone is that a facility manager now is to look at the service offering that you're providing and looking at how technology can make it better. I believe that's the way forward in a world where there's a little bit of uncertainty, and this new normal, we will probably go back to a little bit of what we had in the past, but I think there's just going to be a general consensus that it's going to be very different in terms of our social interactions and how we do things, and we're going to want things faster, quicker, and at the touch of a button.
Thank you. Mr. Olufore.
Okay, sorry. Am I on? Let me see. Sorry. Okay.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Okay.
On.
Yeah, good. Okay. Thank you, Uche. Yes. My last word would be a bit more comprehensive, taking a bit from what Kendi has said, what Nnamdi has said, and Deborah, and what we are able to do from our side and Alpha Meet. You know, I hear.
Sorry to cut in a bit, provided we can do that in about 60 minutes to 90 minutes, 60 to 90 seconds.
Yes. I mean, Kendi actually spoke about what they are doing in the finance end of things, and how he feels, the challenges of the time will not make people be able to afford a home. But I can tell you, I mean, it's not true that people are not renting. You know, what people are actually looking for, especially the new generation set of guys, is not to pay 1 year in advance. We will pay and rent small by paying monthly in advance. And a lot of landlords are actually depositing their properties with our property and development arm, and that is happening. So it's part of the game-changing, innovative ideas that is in the space. You know, in terms of Internet of Things and technology, yes, we are building technology, even homegrown. You know, you can't see it on any app store. And we even have the one you even see on App Store on iPhone and Google that AlphaMid has even developed to enable you, you know, unbundle and call out FM service in compartmentalized form. And these are part of the innovative approaches that we have brought to the market, knowing fully well that we cannot remain with the whole order of things. As the demography changes, the business world changes, we must be able to speak the language that speaks to the flexibility of the times. So, and as we do that, yes, just like Deborah started our presentation analyzing that Honduras bridge, how it has now, it's a bridge to nowhere now, but we as human beings, that human touch part of things must skew our brain to what alternative is out there. There is always an alternative, and the alternative reside in technological innovation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gundimo.
Thank you very much. I think what he just said what I wanted to say, which is, yes, there is a need by the Generation Z. They don't require big houses like we require. That's what I said in my statement, but they will still need to rent somewhere or to be somewhere and things like that. So we must look at the needs of the people and build something that is functional. Let me just wrap up by saying that The importance of facilities management cannot be overemphasized. It is directly linked to financing and to the well-being of our people in terms of wealth creation. People build houses here and just think that that's the end of it. But when you maintain your houses very well, when you maintain the neighborhood very well, when you maintain even the people very well, that you have that appreciation in the value of the asset. We should see housing not just as something that we live in, but as an asset that should appreciate. And one of the things that will make it appreciate is when you have a good facilities manager. I'll end here. Thank you.
Thank you. Nnamdi.
Yeah, as I've said many times today, I think the speakers have said most of what's yet to be said as well. And from my own end, even as a business, I've definitely learned from the wealth of experience that has been on display. And on my own end as well, I would also be looking to, build on what has been said, see how we could also collaborate in the future for a better, safer community as well. So I appreciate your invitation and your organization of this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. I'd like to thank you, so much for, making out time from your busy schedules to be on this call. I hope that we can always leverage this relationship for subsequent editions. I mean, it's the first edition for BuiltConverse. We hope to be able to run every 2 weeks. We want to be able to run another one focusing on a different area of the build space. And we will do this for like 6 sessions, and then we'll move on to another sector completely. So every 2 weeks, Fridays, we will do this. Thank you so much. Kemi. Kemi, you're muted.
Yes. Thanks to all our partners, our guests, and all attendees. It was great having you here. We would like to invite you to the next BuiltConverse, which is in about 2 weeks, just like we said. And if you would love to be part of the conversation, don't hesitate to reach out. Send us a mail, startupsouth@gmail.com. So we'll see you some other time. Follow us on social media. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you to the folks at Port Harcourt in Pictures. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Okay. Good.
Yeah, we can leave.